subject, as you all know the relevance of it, it is 500 marks out of 2025. Even though it's only 500 marks, today the value of this is much more when compared to any other subjects. The reason is the other subjects are not scoring. Averagely, people are getting 60 to 65 in paper 2, paper 3. Paper 1 and 4 are the places where you can see some scores. To be frank, today it is essay, ethics, and optional. These three usually help students to crack this exam. Good score in all these three will help you to get within 100 ranks. If any one of these three, if you get average marks, and the other two if you have done excellent, then you will be definitely in the list. So most of the people, even though they rely on essay and ethics, still they cannot do anything with it because they have to write this too. But when it comes to optionals, many people feel based on this, whether you are in or not will be chosen. Before 2013, you had two optionals. Now you have only one option. Why I tell this regularly is people get confused. They keep asking us, sir, there is optional 1 and optional 2. What does it mean? Or paper 1 and paper 2 within optionals. So you have only one paper. You have to write only one paper. So whenever you're choosing any optional, first look at some of the main characteristics before choosing the optional. The first thing that you need to focus is whether the optional is scoring or not. This is the most crucial aspect. Most students, they choose an option based upon how much people have scored in this. First thing they ask is, sir, is there any topper who has taken this and who has cleared? Mainly, they focus on scoring because it makes sense. As I told you, 500 marks out of 2025. And when we say scoring, there is no optional as such which is not scoring till date. There is no optional. Every optional is scoring. For example, Adappa Karthik in 2008, he chose zoology and psychology. With zoology, he cleared. Mutyala Raju in 2007 had taken electrical engineering and mathematics. He was the topper. So every subject you can see toppers scoring high marks. I have seen students with Kannada literature who have got 400 plus. I have seen students who have taken economics, political science, geography, zoology, botany, chemistry. Like every subject is scoring. But how to decide whether a particular optional is scoring or not will depend upon how many people are actually taking this particular optional. It is not just scoring that you need to focus, but you need to look at the popularity of the options. For example, if you take options like history, public administration, usually people call it PubAd, sociology, geography, you usually observe that almost around 3,000 people in every subject, which is equal to 12,000 aspirants, choose these 4 subjects alone. Why people choose this? One, let's take history. Most of the people choose history mainly because they might be arts students who would have done history in their graduation, and there are n number of students who are from that background who take civil services, so they choose history as their optional. The second thing, in the initial days of your preparation, most of the students start with history. If the teachers impress them and they feel every individual would have read history in his lifetime. So they feel apart from PubBat, sociology and geography, which they're not very sure, history is easy. So the number of students, when I say 3000 into 4, I'm talking about mains students, that is who have cleared prelims and who are writing mains. And the second important optional which people used to choose is public administration. The reason why students choose this is it is very less, syllabus is limited, it hardly takes 2 to 3 months for you to cover the syllabus. Standard books are available, materials are available, good coaching institutes are available. So this made a lot of students to choose, especially engineering students and management students usually prefer to take public administration. When optionals were there in prelims, people used to prefer this because it was easy to crack the exam with PubBat. Prelims was easy to crack with PubBat. It was similar to CSAT. So public administration is one optional which people used to take before. Today, lot of us feel scared, or we try to be diplomatic in saying, should you choose PubBat as an option? Usually we say it's not scoring, so don't take it. It was one of the most popular optional before, but nowadays the scores have reduced a lot. Questions are not from the limited syllabus, they're asking outside the syllabus. So this has made this particular optional very, very difficult. So mostly if you talk to any seniors, they ask you to avoid public administration. Few students still take public administration mainly because they would have already prepared for that option before and now they don't want to change this option. But if you are taking newly, if you're planning to take public administration, as the syllabus now is not defined properly, I would say please be cautious before choosing public administration. And the second reason why I say be cautious about these popular subjects, it's not just with PubBat, with any of these four. See, if you take options like botany, zoology, competitors are very less. You can impress the evaluator easily and score high marks. But when it comes to these subjects, if 3000 people are writing, to outshine them, you should be exceptionally well. So, whenever you are interested in 2 to 3 subjects, let's say you have interest in sociology, you have interest in geography, and you have interest in anthropology as well. I would say rather than going with socio and geography, anthropology will be much better because it's easy to outshine others if you prepare properly rather than taking a popular subject. Anthropology, I just gave an example because it was not listed here. Nowadays, anthropology has got a lot of popularity. More number of students are taking anthropology mainly because it has seen consistent results. And again, in anthropology, the number of students are limited. I'm sorry. Again, in anthropology, if you see, the syllabus is limited. Scope for asking outside the syllabus is very less. Traditional questions are coming. 1000 pages at max, people say if you read for anthropology, it is more than enough. 2 to 3 months time. If you see, earlier people used to prepare for optionals from the prelims itself. But today, people think of optionals post prelims. They hardly get 2 to 3 months to prepare. So at that point of time, a subject which has limited syllabus and which is scoring is the one which people usually prefer, though they give the optional before itself, if they have thought consciously to read after prelims, then people are choosing anthropology a lot. So it is also one of the popular optionals today. I'll come to anthropology in much detail when I take every optional and talk about the merits and demerits. So these, the third subject, sociology, as it is related to society. Many sociology faculties, they usually say sociology is important mainly because it covers social issues. It will help you in essay. Almost every optional subject, if you go and talk to that specific faculty, he will tell you it has some relevance in GS and he will somehow relate it with essay as well. I would say with almost everything you can write. But today, optional has to be seen apart from GS. Yes, if at all you can take advantage of it, it's fine. But don't choose an option just because it has some overlapping. The reason is general studies questions are completely current affairs based nowadays. If you just go by overlapping, then I'm not sure how much marks are you able to get in that paper. Most of the students, when you see, if their optional is political science, their scores in polity paper has reduced a lot, mainly because they don't write answers required in general studies and they try to make it more technical. This is one observation which most of the teachers also say. So just as the institutes or the faculties will be teaching a particular optional, they will try to tell you that this has relevance, so please take this. I would say listen to everyone, but put these things into context. Even though I take geography, still I'm not trying to tell anything with respect to geography, mainly because I understand the problem with most of the students where they don't know which one is actually correct. They may be thinking about different optionals, and if we stress on any one optional, then you have a tendency to feel that that is the final one. So please reserve your opinions. Don't come to conclusion in the beginning itself. Listen carefully, take your time before choosing an option. Fourth important one is geography. As it is semi-scientific, some sort of physics, chemistry and all works in this. People have a tendency to choose this. Usually engineers plan to take this. But the biggest problem with this optional is it is very vast. It's very, very vast. And it's never ending. So as I told you, I'll come and take every optional and tell you the merits and demerits. Popular options are these. If you feel your writing skill is good and you have interest in any of these four, and if you feel you can outshine others so that you can get into the rank, choose any one. Please avoid history as much as possible if you don't have history as your background. That is, if you have not done arts, BA in history, avoid history as much as possible. The third thing which people usually see while choosing an option is whether it is easy to understand or not. This is very, very important because most of the students, they understand that whether you go for coaching or not, there will be some content which you have to read on your own. So when you're reading new content or whenever you're reading some different material to impress the evaluators, then you should choose an option which is easy to understand. In mechanical engineering, civil engineering, if you have not understood the concepts at that time during your engineering, it's not easy for you to take those optionals today. So don't choose an option just because I know about it, I have familiarity with it. And when you look at the syllabus, if you don't understand, then you will be losing marks. Remember, nowadays UPSC is actually asking you questions not from the syllabus prescribed, but outside the syllabus. So during that time, you have to choose those subjects which is easy to understand. For example, people with genetics, biotechnology, or medicine, for you, physical anthropology is very easy. And social anthropology is also easy because social anthropology doesn't have much technical content. But people who have not read genetics, and if you want to read anthropology on your own, you may feel physical anthropology to be the most difficult one. So if you take two anthropology students, one who knows better in physical anthropology, he will be focusing more on how to express through pictures and diagrams, whereas the other one will be more focused about the content because he knows only that particular concept, nothing more than that. So when questions change, if it is difficult for you to understand, you cannot present yourself in a better way. So easy to understand. Take any subject which is easy for you to understand. Management students, MBA students, if you choose PubAd or management, it will be easy because you would have already read and you just need to implement or read new books here. The fourth important point that you need to focus is with respect to availability of material. Take, for example, philosophy or psychology. People may be interested in these optionals, or few people, whenever I talk to them, they want to choose max as their optional, mainly because of their engineering background. They feel they are very good in max. But the problem with max is there is no availability of material, especially from UPSC point of view. People keep asking, so which material should I rely on? And with limited books, whatever is available in the market, they have to read. So availability of material is also an important criteria whenever you choose any optional. That's the reason most of the people go for popular option. Ira Singhal told that she wanted to choose geography mainly because of the availability of material, both in the market where institutions give new material and also on online. But if you take philosophy, max and all, if you are from remote areas where material availability is not there and if there is no one to guide you, then this particular optional becomes difficult. So you have to consider all these points whenever you choose about any optional. Fifth, whether there is coaching available for that particular optional. Few people feel they have very less time. So we are engineers, for me, any subject is one and the same. I'm ready to put effort, but I need someone to guide me. So here coaching plays a very important role. If you are in Delhi, psychology, sociology, philosophy, law, all these options are easy to take mainly because there are n number of institutions who talk only from the exam point of view. If you go outside these coaching areas, there will be hardly one or two optionals which will be available for you. Say if you are from Bangalore even, the number of people who are giving optional coaching is very, very limited. So whatever the institutions tell we provide, students are forced to take if they are relying on the coaching. Anthropology, Hyderabad is very popular, where you have n number of institutions working only on that. And if you want to take any literature, coaching is must. So at that point of time, material and help from the faculties will be required. So don't blindly take that in Delhi someone is teaching, or in Bangalore someone is teaching some subject. I will take that optional. I will take his notes and read. Remember, faculties will talk a lot in the class. Only a part of it will be written by the student. And until and unless you understand in a context, you cannot read any material and write, especially any institute's material. So if you rely only on institute's material, it's not beneficial. Please look whether coaching is available for a particular optional which you don't have minimum idea. If coaching is not available, then at least try to see whether it is easy to understand. That is, whether can you sit and read on your own. This is the most important aspect. Sixth, you have to focus on graduation. That is, if you are engineers, there are very few optionals available. So if you are comfortable, we know when we read in engineering, and on almost all the degrees we read in the last minute. So don't think that if you have scored well in your graduation, you will be reading all the 8 semesters in one go, because you have to write everything in 2 papers, morning and evening. Preparation time is also important. Revision time is important. If the syllabus is vast, please be careful. Think how much time you have to prepare. If you're working, don't take optional which is having more syllabus and which is difficult to comprehend. Never ending syllabus needs to be avoided, mainly because most of your time will go in reading GS and newspaper. When will you read optional and when will you revise? Remember, without revision, optional is not scoring. You have to revise at n number of times. Then only it's possible for you to go for that. Seventh, people talk about overlapping with the GS syllabus, which I have already mentioned. Once you have decided 2 subjects, I have to go with either of these 2, then you can think whether it has any benefit in the GS or not. If you can score more in one subject, say for example, you want to take Kannada literature and another one is political science. You have doubt in these 2. Now, Kannada literature is scoring, whereas political science is not easy to score. It's vast. But just because there is overlapping with one paper, don't choose political science, because on an average, the score that you get in political science alone, along with GS, will sometimes be less than Kannada literature and average marks in that particular paper in GS. It's easy, limited syllabus. If you by heart few things, it's easy for you to go ahead. And if you know writing skills, then it's easy to take literature. So my point is, overlapping with GS syllabus should be minimum. People give more priority to this. I would also say, yes, it will be beneficial, but today the optional syllabus doesn't directly overlap with the GS syllabus, because GS is mostly current affairs orientation. So this is my personal view. After seeing so many students and question papers, we realize that if you have too much technical knowledge, usually in GS your scores reduce a lot, because you try to be more technical and present your knowledge rather than answering the question. So please be careful. And the other one, as I clearly told you, time limit is one that you need to consider. whenever you take any optional. That is, how much time are you willing to give? Are you a full-time guy? You're sitting for 10 to 12 hours every day, sir. People feel I can give 10 to 12 hours every day. And they say, sir, I have enough time. I'll prepare any optional. I'm not bothered about the vastness. Then go by the interest and easy to understand so that you can read more material. When time limit is a constraint, you should look which optional is scoring at the same time which has limited syllabus, and at the same time whether coaching is available for that or not. Some of the other things which people consider and I would give least priority is friend circle. You go for coaching there. If two people say I have taken this coaching or I have taken this optional and let's sit and prepare, so you will also feel at least I have someone to prepare with, and you choose an option. So these things are commonly seen. Please avoid this. Your interest and your circumstances are completely different. Your background will be completely different from others. Then people go by current affairs. Most of the people, they choose political science mainly because they love reading international relations page. They say that, sir, I begin my preparation with international relations page, world page, and Hindu. I'm very much interested. I would say if you're interested, if you have passion in reading something, then you can read it even after becoming an IAS officer. But remember, if you score less when compared to others in a particular optional, you end up having specialization in a particular subject rather than clearing. So please differentiate this carefully. At last, don't listen to what people say useful for essay. They keep saying this, useful for essay, right? There are materials available of Tina Dabi's essay where people have given the photocopy of the essays which she used to practice. You can see the quality of her answer when she has taken an essay with respect to political science and an essay which is a general one. Whenever people write an essay which is related to their subject, they stick to the point. They focus mainly on the knowledge which they know within that subject. So you become more specialized. Whereas a person who has taken a normal essay, you don't know about it, then usually there is a tendency where he brings in history, polity, economy, geography, social issues, international relations, internal security, different aspects regarding a particular essay. With experience and also looking closely at few students who have written mains and have scored less, initially when they write the exam, they come to us and they say that, sir, the essay which I wrote was related to my optional, so I'm very much confident I'm going to score very high marks in essay. But when the results come, they have got hardly 60 to 80, where they feel, have I written so bad? So people are not aware. It's only a marketing strategy just to say that you take this particular optional, it will be beneficial for these things as well. So guys, please don't go with these things. First, focus on what exactly is required in every optional, whether you have these facilities or not. If you have these facilities, go ahead with that. If not, don't think twice. You have to treat this exam just as another exam. Choose a paper, an optional, which will help you to crack this exam. If you love any subject, do PhD after this. Clear UPSC. UPSC will give you an opportunity to do PhD. You can do that. But take one which helps you to crack. I repeat, take the optionals which helps you to crack, because this is just another exam. right? So if there is any doubts, just ask for 5 minutes. I'll start with one. I'll take one optional at a time and try to discuss what are the merits and demerits of it, whether it's good to go with that optional or not. Yes, guys, the questions that you have asked, I'll be taking them one after the other, because here most of the questions that you have asked is relevant to what I'll be talking in next few minutes. So let's begin with agriculture and animal husbandry as the options. Guys, remember the standard of the UPSC optional question paper is similar to BSc, BA, bachelor degree, or at least master's degree. So for most of the subjects, if you have a background where you have done BSc or BA in that particular subject, then please go ahead with that. Engineers, BE, wait. But BSc agriculture, BSc animal husbandry, veterinary science, veterinary doctors can choose this, right? So these two are specific. Agriculture and animal husbandry, they are specific. So I'm not going into detail. And others don't even think of taking this options. It's not yours, right? Next optional which we need to see in detail today is anthropology. What is the benefit? Merits, limited syllabus. People say, you talk to them, sir, give me 2 months, I'll finish anthropology. And few students have even told, sir, I have accumulated all the material with respect to anthropology. It is not more than 1,000 pages. But as I told you, the issue is, I'll write positives here and negatives here. The issue here is with physical anthropology, where the concepts are not very much in detail, but you need some help to understand. So people who hate biology, please don't aim for anthropology. Else, sir, I can manage. Coaching is available. For anthropology, yes, coaching is available. Books are available. Limited time as well. Is it scoring? Yes. Average scores you can easily get in anthropology. So is it dynamic? People say 90% is static, which comes only from the syllabus. Only 10% is dynamic. Right? So if at all, even by chance you like genetics, and if you can understand it, this is the optional which I would suggest you. Please go ahead. If you can start now, within the next 2 months, you can finish it. There will be a separate session for you on choosing the books. So you can think about this. People who are thinking of sociology as an optional can again think of anthropology because there is a lot of overlapping and you will be reading limited content when compared to sociology. So anthropology is easy. You can think about this. The second important one, or the other options that we look, if you take botany, chemistry, so definitely not everyone will be interested in botany, chemistry, zoology, physics. Remember, please, engineering guys, don't go with these optionals. If at all you're preparing for forest services, and in forest services you're familiar with any one of this, sir, I know a bit, I want to prepare for forest services also, then you can choose. Else, don't even think of these options, because people who usually choose these optionals are MSc guys, and they would have written net. Most of the people whom I usually encounter are the ones who are faculties, who are experts in this field, and they would have cracked net, JRF and all. So please avoid, if you don't have enough time. If you are very good, then don't think anything else, just go ahead with it. The reason is, even if limited number of students are taking this optional, you have to draw pictures and all. And for that, you need more time, which is not available with you. So please avoid this. Anthropology, if I got to say, working people can think about this optional. Working guys can think about this. Then let's take some engineering subjects. Civil engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering. So, sir, what about us? I have done my mechanical engineering, so which option should I take? Honestly, you should tell whether you have done engineering with such a great passion that you have read almost all the syllabus completely, and you need not worry about this optional anymore today. If there are aspirants who want to attempt engineering services, there is another exam, IES. So if you're planning for IAS, please go ahead with these. I would suggest please go ahead, because it will help you in both. So please read. And at that time, you can oversmart others, outshine others, but not with minimum knowledge. Sir, engineering with great difficulty I have cracked. I don't want to read it again. This is the reason why I have chosen UPSC. Then don't think of these optionals, right? You need not convince to the world that, sir, I did engineering, but still I did not take engineering as my optional. People usually get panicked thinking that in interview they may ask me, you have done mechanical engineering, then why didn't you choose mechanical engineering as optional? So you need not worry. UPSC will not ask you these troubling questions. Still, you may tell, apart from engineering, I felt the other optional or subject was very much interesting for me, so I took that. Right? So don't go with this until and unless you have the background. See, most of the things that we saw apart from anthropology are only for those people who have that particular background. So you can eliminate all these. Next, commerce students, there is good news for you. You have commerce as an optional. People who are good in this, you can take this. It is not subjective, it is objective. where the problems will be given and you need to solve. The theory is also limited. If your background is there and if you have really worked hard, commerce is also scoring. We have enough examples where people have cracked with this. Apart from this, the second thing which people relate is statistics. Statistics, people usually think they know mean, median, mode and all, and they feel I know statistics. But if you look into the syllabus of statistics, it's huge. It's really huge. Please see the syllabus. If you have done masters in statistics, then go ahead. If not, please don't take this. Till now, whatever I have talked about any subject apart from anthropology, if you don't have background, please don't choose. As simple as this. Some other optionals where background matters, and is important is law, medicine, medical science, and to some extent management. So these management can be taken by anyone, but if you are an MBA guy, it's easy for you to choose this particular one, right? Law, medicine, or management. If you have a background, you can easily take this, and you have seen lot of people who have taken these as their optionals and they have cracked. So don't worry. Next, let's take some of the popular and optionals which people feel need to be taken by everyone. Let's begin with economy. Few people understand economics a lot. They may be working in that particular area, so they feel that economy is easy, so let me take. But remember guys, you're going to deal not with normal graduates. People who have taken or who have done masters in economics will be the one who will be competing with you. And remember, there is economic service exam as well. So people will be preparing for that, and they write UPSC. So if at all they are writing mains with economy optional, challenging them will be very, very difficult. Few people, just because they do MBA, they feel economy is very easy. But there is significant difference in MA economics, the way people write their answers, and MBA, right? So please be careful before choosing economy. Next, let me take geography. So here again I'll talk about positives and negatives. Geography, easy to understand, especially for engineers, right? Easy to understand. Books are available. It is contemporary. Most of the questions, they usually come from the newspaper itself, right? Books, contemporary. Negatives, vast. Syllabus is vast, takes lot of time. Map pointing is there, which makes this paper difficult for most of the students, which is difficult to remember as well. Some are not there on Google Maps also. So those type of map pointing will be given sometime. So if at all you have good coaching available, and if you can understand concepts, if you can draw some pics, then geography is a good optional to go with. In the last 3-4 years, the scores have varied. When Ira Singhal actually topped, It was a time when geography was easy, and most of the students you can see with geography optional cracked. Geography is such a paper, if at all the question paper becomes easy, you are in. Because most of the questions are direct and it's easy. But sometimes application oriented questions come where, depending upon the material you read, it will help you to write good answers. Geography with proper guidance, and if you can start now for 2017, it's easy for you to crack. 2 to 3 months time, if you can prepare on this, and after that reading newspaper regularly will help you to get good marks. At least average marks you can get. Not like PubAd where you get minimum marks. Sometimes you get 50 to 60 in one paper. Out of 250, usually people get 50, 60 only. Geography is not like that. Minimum you can get above 220. If proper efforts are put, you can see people who have scored till 300 as well. So geography, when the question paper was for 600, we have seen people who have got 400, 425 and all. So even though it's vast, easy for engineers when compared to other subjects. Books are available, coachings are available, so you can think of this. But if you have less time and if you want to have a feeling before exam that yes, I have completed the entire syllabus, then geography is not for you, right? There is another subject, geology, which is not related to geography. There are some portions which overlaps. People who usually prepare for forest services, they don't have geography as an option, so they usually choose geology as the optional. So if you are planning to give forest services, then go with geology. Else, rather than geology, geography is much easier to understand and also to write. Next important optional which we have to discuss in detail is history. Positives, material availability is there, coaching is there, easy to understand, you can read on your own. Negatives, you need memory a lot. Sir, I can remember anything on earth. Then history is for you, right? The other thing is vast, like, incomplete. Whatever you do with history, there will be something which will be left. I would suggest, by any chance, if you have done HEPA in arts, where if you have read history, economics, political science, then think of history if you're good in your graduation. Engineers, just because you know Gandhi, Nehru and all, don't go with history. History is much more. And unfortunately, in our 4 years, we would have never memorized much. So it's not possible for you to think about ancient, medieval, world history and all. Just because the graduate guys would have covered most of the syllabus during their graduation time and they would have practiced writing a lot, history is for them. Right? So next, maths. Sir, I'm very good at maths. That's the reason I did engineering as well. But maths is much more. Syllabus is much more. And always remember, you're not competing with a group who is bad in maths. You're competing with those people who are excellent in maths. So you should be very well prepared if you're taking maths. The second thing people talk about maths is there may be scaling. What is the meaning of scaling? Scaling means, say for example, if you have got 500 right? Out of 500, if you have got 450, so you won't be given 450. They may reduce it, and they may reduce it to 300 to 350 based on other subjects. This is what people say. Till now, UPSC has not come out openly. UPSC has said there may be scaling, but it's not clear how the scaling process is done. Sometimes when the paper is very easy, then usually if more number of students are scoring very high marks, they say they usually scale down. But what is the process of scaling and all is not known. So without knowing, we cannot simply comment and scare you people. Look at the syllabus. Material is available. Coaching is not available. If you feel you can do on your own with limited help from some of your faculties who might be knowing maths, you can take this. Else, just because you have done engineering, you have cleared CAT and all, don't take maths. That maths and this maths is completely different. Right? Next you have philosophy. People who usually prepare in Delhi, who usually go for few institutions which are very popular, they usually say, I'll take philosophy. Yes, philosophy is scoring. If you have any plans to go to Delhi, any materials from there, if you have any background, please go with that. Good institutions and good coaching will definitely help you with philosophy. But sir, I cannot move anywhere. I have to sit and prepare. So philosophy is not for you. Don't think about philosophy that you can crack by just reading. The words are very much complex. You need to be trained in a particular way to score. People say philosophy will help you in ethics, it will help you in essay and all, as I told you again and again. Don't go by that. Until and unless you have good passion for philosophy, and if you can get good guidance for that, please go ahead. Else, you have other options which are far better and scoring than philosophy. Next, political science. When people say political science and IR, just by looking at the faculty or their interest in international relations, people feel I'll take political science. But remember, political science has different subjects within. You have political theory, you have political thinkers, you have comparative politics, you have Indian polity, you have regional integration, and you have international relations. And there are theories in almost all these. People who have done BA or MA in political science will at any time outsmart you if you don't have the background. Remember, 90% of the people who choose political science as their optional, they are the one who have done political science and IR in their graduation. Very few people, because of interest, they take this and they get stuck. If you have interest in international relations, you can opt for IFS first rather than choosing political science as an optional just because IR is a component of it. People feel yes, it is with a particular paper as well. Right? One paper will be covered. Still, I'll tell you, avoid it as much as possible. So, again, for this, the positives are, right, material is available, books are available, but there are more negatives, vastness, no proper coaching, time taking, difficult to understand as well, right? So think twice before taking this optional. Next, public administration. Positives. Everything is a positive in public administration. Limited syllabus, right? Limited syllabus. Material availability is there. Whichever city you are, you get coaching for this. Easy to understand, even you can understand on your own. The only drawback is not much scoring. People have got 20, 30 out of 250. You can imagine how pathetic the scores can be. With other optionals, it's not so huge in difference. But public administration, few people have scored really bad. We don't know whether it is because they have not read properly or because the UPSC has not given enough marks. But please be careful with respect to public administration. I would say just because it is not scoring nowadays, and there are a lot of people who plan to take, and outshining them is very difficult, think of other options which will help you to crack rather than getting stuck and after 1 or 2 years thinking of changing the optional. I have met several students who have taken PubBad, who have prepared everything, but still every time before filling the form they ask, sir, shall I change my optional? I'm not feeling confident with public administration. So that's the problem with that. Psychology, limited syllabus, less time taking, books are available, right? Easy to understand as well. Specific books are there. If you can just bring those books, read it, it's fine. But the only problem is, even though it's easy to understand, people feel they need coaching for this. Even without coaching, I can tell you, you can choose psychology, but still, once you start reading, few people feel that whether my understanding is proper or not, I need to look into that. This is what people keep saying. So, material standard books are available. It is scoring. Less number of students take. Any interest in psychology, please go ahead. If you can get coaching, then there is nothing like that. It's easy to score. The other optional which we need to see is sociology. One of the most interesting optional to read. Anyone can take. Any background student can take. This is the reason why people take sociology. Whether you're arts, commerce, MBA, engineering, anyone can take. Easy to understand. The theory part is a bit boring, but if you have good English and if you can actually write in a proper way, if you can express yourself properly, there is no other subject better than sociology. You have material availability, easy to understand, no need of coaching alone. You can sit and prepare, right? And the other best advantage is it is one of the popular one. So you get coaching material itself. Specific coaching materials are available. The negatives are it is vast. need good presentation, scores are average. You won't score very high. Don't expect to score very high marks. Average scores 220, 230, 240. Rarely you see one or two people getting above 250, 260. But sociology, average marks you get. Difficult to impress the faculties as well, evaluators as well. So this is one of the most important one. If you think vastness is the problem, go with anthropology. Provided if you can prepare for physical anthropology, right? At last, there are your literature subjects. So, 10th was the last time when I had actually written any language which you prefer. Shall I take now? You have very good examples of people topping this exam with literature. One thing people say, the advantage of literature is that it has to be evaluated by the regional faculties and they have soft corner for you. All these are not true. But what I can guarantee with literature is that average minimum score will be above 200. If you have read minimum content, you will get above 200. Here, syllabus is defined. Even though there is scope to ask outside the syllabus, usually questions come only from the syllabus. And material is available, even without coaching you can do. The difficulty here is writing skill. You should be fast. Unlike English, it's very difficult for you to write the regional language quickly. So people might have may not be having that skills. So please be careful. If you can know reading and writing and you don't like anything else, go with this. But remember, you should take coaching at any point. For literature, without coaching, if you read on your own, ensure you are giving at least 6 months of preparation because you need to by heart a lot. Lot of stories will be there, lot of books will be there. You need to read everything. If you don't want to do that, go to some coaching. That guy would have read the book. He will tell you the entire story. Just follow that. That is more than enough. Fine. So guys, we have seen almost all the optionals and I have told you positives and negatives of each one. After this, within next few days, we will be taking every optional. If you have already decided to take any optional, at least choose 2 to 3. Attend webinars of those optional specifically. At that time, we will go in detail and tell you how to deal with this particular optional. I'll be doing a webinar on how to read geography in optional paper. There, if you have thought of taking geography as the optional, then you can sit and see whether it is practical for you to complete the entire thing and whether you can understand it easily or not. Right? At least try to choose 2 to 3 options. Don't go by which optionals are provided by the institution so that I will choose only those. That logic is completely rubbish. Don't go by what institution prefers. Go by which will help you to crack. Right? This is the reason why I have not shown any biasness towards any optional. I have told you merits and demerits. I have explained you everything. If you have any subject specific doubt, you can. So 20 to 30